Welcome to another episode of City Speak. I am your host, Clarence Anthony, CEO and Executive Director of the National League of Cities. We have an episode today that is special. The opportunity to learn about our new leader of the National League of Cities, Mayor Steve Patterson of Athens, Ohio. The one thing I'm going to say from the top is that he is an amazing, thoughtful, and kind person, and in addition, a great leader. His service to his adopted hometown began when he was elected to the city council in 2011, and he has served as mayor since 2016. Nationally, he's known for his leadership with NLC through the University Communities Council and our Race, Equity, and Leadership Council. He's also past president of the International Town and Gowns Association. Now, so this is the interesting part that I want our listeners to really grasp on. Before he served as mayor of Athens, he was a college professor at Ohio University and served as a major within the Air National Guard. We're also excited to have him here today because the mayor really has had some great experiences that we're going to build on to show you how he really came to be the leader he is, and most importantly, the person he is. So, Mayor Steve Patterson, welcome to City Speak.
Thank you, Clarence. It's an honor being here. I appreciate you talking about how kind I am. That means a lot to me. I was raised that way, so it's great being here with you.
You know, a lot of times when I ask folks what was their journey to being mayor, because I've gotten to know you and consider you a friend, I know a lot about the remarkable careers that you have had and some of the experiences that you've had out of college, then into, work, and then into the political life. Mm-hmm. Man, talk to me a little bit about that remarkable journey that you've had.
It's been extremely Forrest Gumpian, to be honest with you, without the financial returns. It was interesting. I've just had the most almost surreal path. After graduating from high school, I decided that I wanted to see the United States, and so spent a fair amount of time basically traveling in the United States. I was hitchhiking, to be fully honest about my path. And then I ran into some individuals who were in the Air Force, and they said, if you enjoy traveling, you should join the Air Force. So I did. Started off as an enlisted member. The travel was rather limited. I was stationed at Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota for 8.5 years. But during that time, I was fortunate to get my bachelor's degree. And then from there, I went on to graduate school right here in the DC area at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. It's a DoD medical school, and got my PhD in health psychology. And then bounced around a little bit from an academic standpoint. The beauty of that time frame, as well as the hitchhiking, is I got to see and live in over 14 cities across the nation and sit and absorb things. I'm an observer. I like going places and seeing things. And I think a lot of that, my academic career, my professorship at Ohio University, which was from 1998 through 2016. It's a full-time position as mayor, strong city mayor in Athens, Ohio. So I had to resign my tenure with Ohio University as a tenured associate professor to become the mayor in 2016. But it's interesting, my lived experience really, when you look at my military career, which was 23 years, teaching at Ohio University and just being a professor for over 20 years, it really lent itself to taking on the role of being a full-time mayor. I often get asked, do you miss teaching? And my response is typically, well, I still feel like I'm teaching in a different way. And I was a researcher. Do you miss your research? I said, no, I still use my research tools to solve challenges, within my community, because I view everything as a challenge. I don't ever view nothing as a problem. That's not even something in my vocabulary. It's a challenge.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're at the university, and all of a sudden, how did this bug or desire
Yeah.
to get into this world of public policy, of public service, and not just politics, it's public service? What made you decide to do this?
So when I was faculty at OU, I was on the faculty senate for 7 years. And that was a real interesting, good experience. But I felt just wanting to do something more than just serving the university. And so a former city council member at large indicated they weren't going to run again. And I started thinking, again, given my lived experience, I think I'd be good at being a city council member. So I ran. I was successful in getting on council. At the time, I'd never been in politics.
You won the first time?
I won my first time.
Oh, see, that's not normal. Because I'm serious. A lot of people run like 2 and 3 times, but you stepped out there and you won the first time.
Right away, right out of the gate. And it was not, I'll say it wasn't easy. It's interesting. We have 3 at-large seats in the city of Athens. There's 7 council members total, 4 wards and 3 at-large. And so with this one at-large member not running, I said, I'm going to go and run. Well, everyone thinks they're running for this one seat. No, all 3 seats are up for grabs. So there was 6 people running for 3 seats. So it was contested for sure. But
that's where that research comes in, too.
I think so.
Knowing.
I think it's the research, but I think it's also, as you can imagine, the city of Athens, we have a population hovering around 30,000. And within that population, a lot of them are faculty, their staff, their administration. So I had those connections, which I think was really helpful as well. So that kind of helped be the multiplier during my campaign. So successful, ran again in 2013, successful again. And then in 2014, the previous mayor, Paul Weil, said, I've been doing this for 2 terms. I think I'm pretty much done. And as soon as he said that, I set up a meeting with him, and I kind of wanted to understand more of what his daily life was like as a mayor. And, and at the end I said, Paul, I think I'd be a decent mayor. And he looked at me and he said, I think you'd be a great mayor.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of all I needed. Now, I had one more person to convince, since I had to resign my tenure, and that was my wife.
Yes.
And my wife is amazing. Connie is my rock as I look forward. My 2 daughters, Adelia and Alana, who are now 13, they're amazing too. They really didn't have a lot to say because they were pretty young. They thought maybe, a mayor would be kind of cool.
I was going to say.
Yeah. So my wife, she knows my love of public service. She watched me as a council member and the time I put into the work. And she said, because when you have tenure, you pretty much have job security as long as you want it, right?
Yeah.
But she's the associate dean for the Patton College of Education at Ohio University. So she loves her job. She's doing well. So it was just that moment in time to where she just looked at me and she said, honey, do what your heart's telling you to do. I support you no matter what. And so I did. I jumped in and had one of those really interesting first campaigns for mayor, to where there was a challenger. The challenger happened to be a junior at Ohio University who wanted to run for mayor as well.
Wasn't in your class though, right?
No,
Okay.
No, I think it was political science. So he thought, I'm built for this. I'm going to run for mayor of Athens. And so I didn't have primary. But in June of that year, his name was Andrew Looker. Andrew called me and he said, Mayor, I'm pulling out. I'm not going to do this. And didn't give a reason. That's fine. So my first mayoral election was unopposed, which was very odd. Can't say that for the following 2 campaigns. They were, and it was an interesting run. But I won my second reelection, with well over 70% of the vote. And then again in 2023 with 81% of the vote.
Wow.
So I'm either doing something really well in the city of Athens, or people just didn't like the other person.
No, I think I read all your press and track you, and that doesn't sound right, but I do. I read really good things. I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing your story. And the piece that's important for most people who are interested in public policy is that you have to have your network and most of all, your family support. And oftentimes we've seen public officials who have not had that, and the results have not been really positive. And to be able to understand that you want to do this, as well as you got that support, man, that's a real blessing for you. And Connie is very, very kind and loving to be able to live this life, because I've heard that people say it ain't for the weak to be in public service.
No, it's not.
Especially then. So let me ask you about now.
Sure.
You are the president of the National League of Cities. Yes. And when you think about when you ran for the role of second VP, what were you thinking about you'd like to see America, cities, towns, and villages focus on? What do you want us to really dig into in the year 2025?
I'd say first and foremost, communities being ready and resilient, I think is extremely important for us when we're looking at the devastating effects that are being experienced right now in Los Angeles. We were certainly with the wildfires that are taking place, and the horrific loss of property and lives. And I would contend with the Santa Ana winds being 70 miles an hour. There's a reason for those. I mean, the Santa Anas have been around forever, but the fact that we're seeing the climate changing, watching what was happening in North Carolina with entire cities, being washed away. I think that we have a real role to play with the National League of Cities to kind of elevate everyone with resilience and be prepared. The other thing that I find really important is Athens is, as I'd mentioned, a city of about 30,000, home to Ohio University. Athens being in the heart of Appalachian, Ohio, where we're the largest city in southeastern Ohio with that population, but there are over 120 municipalities within southeastern Ohio, Appalachian region. So you can imagine their populations go anywhere from the city or the village of Amesville, which has 172 citizens, to Athens. So I want to elevate, the smaller cities. I want to elevate and uplift underserved communities as well. So I think, again, the National League of Cities has a huge role to play in that. When you look at 85% of the municipalities across the nation being cities of 50,000, populations of 50,000 or less, I think we have a real opportunity to lift them up, as well as our underserved communities. So that's important. The thing that I really am struck by, we recently had a Zoom meeting with our new board members. And as I was looking at the board, I kept thinking, this is so cool to see the diversity in terms of ages of people that are on the board now. And I find that really intriguing for us. It's great. But I also want to continue to cultivate the next generation of leaders. I think it's becoming of us to reach out and work in that world. And then the last thing is, to really start a dialogue for, addressing global issues and, recognizing that there's mayors around the globe. There's mayors, there's chiefs. I had the good fortune when I was in Botswana earlier this year or end of last year to meet with a woman who was the chief, the ninth generation chief, right outside of Gaborone. And I was struck by, again, you're a chief, and the honor of being in that role. And you are the mayor of this village. And over there, I was struck too by the fact that her village has a population of 50,000 people, and I'm going, well, in the state of Ohio, anything less than 5,000 is a village. So, wow.
Wow.
But my point being is that I think that we have a lot to share and a lot to learn globally with our counterparts all over the place. So, and a real opportunity with NLC to do that.
And thank you for sharing that. And I do agree that there's opportunities with sustainability of our nation, making sure that every resident feels as if they have an opportunity to be successful, no matter their zip code in that community. And the international piece is something that I think we're all going to be digging into, and how city leaders throughout America can see themselves connecting to other cities throughout the world. So I see the connectivity, and we have to find a way to get more people interested in public policy, generations. And I don't, yesterday, you and I, we were at a convening, and a council member from Cambridge, Massachusetts, was on a panel. And afterwards, she came up to me and she said, I was in your youth advisory council program. And I said, really? She says, yes, I was like 10th grade, and I came here, and now I'm on the city council because of the experience, the exposure I had to NLC. So if you just thread all of these things that you're talking about, it really is exciting to have a year like 2025 to explore all of these ideas. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also excited because 2025, you're coming in. We have a new administration, 119th Congress. We got opportunities to really do some exciting things on behalf of cities, towns, and villages. And so, what are you most excited about as we look at this time in 2025, and how city leaders can see themselves leading during this time, but also how NLC could be a leader during this time?
You kind of hit on it. We have this amazing opportunity as we look forward with the new administration, with the new Congress, of which there's going to be more than 50 new congressional members that we're going to be working with. I think there's a moment for us to really step up, as we always do when we go up to the Hill during the Congressional City Conference. I threw this out last year, and that was the challenge, to where we had, I believe it was over 800 NLC members, 800 or 900 that went up to Capitol Hill at CCC last year. I would like to see us get to the point where, and we have this is an opportunity to where in every congressional member's office, we have 3 individuals representing NLC to tell the story of NLC. There's going to be, again, a strong educational component. When you have new congressional members, we need to tell them what NLC is all about, what our policies are, what we stand for, because we all know this, that we represent cities, towns, and villages. We also, have this moment in time to really push for what we've been able to accomplish with the housing summit, which just occurred the other day, which was amazing. We heard nothing but positive comments about the housing summit. The housing supply accelerator, is truly a playbook for everybody. That too, we need to make sure that we are making very clear with the new administration that housing is a chief concern, because housing leads to so many things, as you and I both recognize. We need to, and it needs to be full spectrum housing. And so with housing comes wealth. If someone, the first home that they own, they know that, okay, my foot's in the door, no pun intended, and now I know that I've got a level of security, because when you have a community that's lacking in housing, you're going to be basically a flyby for corporations or businesses wanting to set up camp in your community, wherever that community is, if you don't have the housing stock to provide for a new business, not to mention your own citizenry,
Yeah.
looking for a place to downsize to, looking for a starter home, whether it's workforce housing, senior housing, and I see a real opportunity for us as NLC to deliver that message, and move the needle on the housing that we know we truly need in the United States.
I really appreciate you lifting up this issue of housing. I mean, January is Housing Month in America, and it gives us an opportunity to really highlight the summit yesterday that you participated in was titled, This is Our Moment, to be able to address the housing supply gap that we have in America, which is like 4 to 10 million of supply in America. But what I'm more excited about was your announcement that you made in creating an advisory committee.
That's right.
The Housing Comeback Advisory Committee. Yeah. Who's leading that?
Very special people. Mayor Muriel Bowser is going to co-chair along with Mayor Mark Shepard. And the two were there, and they were both kind of unveiling this. But this is an exciting time,
sure is.
To have this new committee forming is going to help us accelerate our path when it comes to housing.
So my final question is another why question. Why NLC? Why did you want to lead NLC? And why should municipal leaders all over America and staff join the National League of Cities?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I've been attending and coming to NLC since 2015. Again, I was mayor-elect. It was the Nashville, Tennessee conference. And I remember coming for that very first time, brand new mayor. Actually, I hadn't been sworn in as mayor-elect. And it was one of those moments where I felt so at home. I was looking at all the different programs that were out there. I was meeting other mayors and city council members and city managers, village administrators. And it was that sense of belonging that I had right away. And then for me, I started finding constituency groups that I felt that worked well for me. I was the University Communities Council. Since we're a college town, that made sense to me. Small Cities Council made sense to me because we're a city that fits within that group. That sang to me. And then as I started learning more about the race, equity, and leadership with REAL, and listening to Leon Andrews, who was running REAL at the time, and understanding what redlining was, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about it. That sang to me too, because I was thinking, we play a role in the systems that are out there that are systems of racism. So I became very deeply involved in that as well. NLC, like I said, it has always felt like it's home. Every time I come, Clarence, it's like, this is homecoming, whether it's CCC or whether it's the city summit somewhere, as well as the summer boards and leadership meeting. This is my people.
Well, good. Well, we are excited about your leadership this year and appreciate the leadership that you've already provided over the last few years. And 2025 for the National League of Cities is going to be an amazing year. One that we are going to engage with the new administration. We're going to identify our priorities. We're going to see the alignment that we have with the administration. We are going to continue to represent cities, towns, and villages in a way that is nonpartisan, but focused on our mission, and that is to make sure that cities, towns, and villages are at the table around issues. So let's give an applause to our president, Mayor Steve Patterson from Athens, Ohio. And thank you for being here at City Speak.
Thank you, Clarence.
And we appreciate our listeners as well. Thank you all.
Thanks for listening to City Speak with Clarence Anthony. If you like this show, let us know. Share this episode with your friends and make sure to subscribe. We're curious to hear what you think. what you want more of, and how we can improve. If you have feedback or an idea for a guest you'd like Clarence to sit down with, send us your thoughts at cityspeakpodcast@nlc.org. Join us next month for a new episode. Like and subscribe here or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.